Aloha, Richard Halverson here. This is ITS148, and today is October 7th. And let me share my screen. Share. All right, so we are here in this week 7, 7, and 8, and we're going to start chapter 12, which we had last semester. And so let's take a look at that. Let's see. Let's see. Let me open up my other browser. So I also posted this assignment of assignment 3, which is just implement lab 12.8 on your server, okay? And do one small thing. Instead of asking the user for the name of the input file, you ask the user for the name of the output file. And then the other thing I wanted to point out was I did get the the auto grader thing working. So in fact, I should yeah, well, let me just show you. It's you go to fa21.its148. I better put that thing in there for that. All right, that's crazy. Nobody's gonna remember that. So let me go back to here. No, not here. Let me go to assignments and go to assignment 2. And in here, I have to say, use the grading assistant, which is this. Copy, paste. And yes, post it. Okay, good. So now when you go to here, yeah, you go to this assignment, you have this link here, and you click on that, and you have the grading assistant, and then you can check to see if your two things work. I'm still working on a grading assistant to test your first program, because your first program, let's see, if you go to my URL is that. And these are the programs. You should have a hello.py and a hello2.py. These here are just, I'm working on the next assignment. But hello.py I think still gives, yes, hello.py still gives you an internal server error because it's not designed to execute from a web server. Hello2.py is designed to execute from a web server, and you can see it just displays that. So so that's why there's not a test. I don't have a test yet for the first one for the plain hello one. I almost have one, but anyway, so what you do here is you put in your ID or your username. I make mine just as hard as yours. And then you can test to see if your things are done. So you click on the first one and it says success. It tested it. This does redirect to this, and so I got all the points. And then for the second one, for my Python test, let's, I gotta do this again because I don't want to save it because otherwise it's. Do the Python test and it should come back, and first it checks to see if your program is there. And then when this thing is displayed like this, it checks to see if, okay, it checks to see that this is there. It checks to see that it checks to see that this is there. Anyway, and then it sends, it tests with sending in a name, and it makes up a name, and it gets that back. Anyway, so once this is done, once you're scored 10 out of 10 points, then that is recorded, and then that's all that you need to do to get the points. So, test your code using this, and then see that you got all the points, and then you're done, and then you can move on to the next thing. All right, so I want to show you that, and so the next assignment is files, and so I'll go through that today. So I'm going to start with chapter 12. Let's see here. And we can review files. So to read a file, you use this open function. Looks like this, and then you have this is like a handle. This is an object that is attached to this file. It's an actual file, and this is the name. This has to be accessible by the operating system or by the program. And then this is the read method that comes along with the object. And once this is executed, then the contents of the file is going to be stored here. So make sure you understand that. Here we're just putting some print statements here to indicate what we're doing at each of these stages. First you open it, then you read it, and then you close it. Okay, you should make sure to do that. So complete the statement to open the file readme text.perf. So that would be something like open read.txt, I think. Yeah. So it's this right here. All right, so that's reading the files. You remember that. And then we write the files. You have to open it, and then there's a write method that comes along with you once you create an object. Once you create this F object, this is how you write something into the file. You put what you want to write as the argument, and then you close it. And the difference between opening for reading and opening for writing is this second argument here, which will open up this file, this file for writing to accept, and it erases anything that's in there. If it exists already, it's going to erase anything that's in there. So you can do it that way, or you can open it up using the A. Let's see, is the open for reading? Oh yeah, see, it defaults to read. Okay, so but you can put R if you want to. So you open for reading, you open for writing, or you open for appending. And so, appending means you want to add to the end of it. So writing will overwrite a file if it's there already. All right. So that's, make sure you understand what that second argument is. Output is buffered. And all that means is it's not going to write. It sort of saves up the line that you're writing. Like here you're just writing something out. Here you're writing something out, and then it actually doesn't write it out until you write out a new line character. Yeah, so that's how that works. In other languages, it's actually a different method, name. But anyway, so that's how that works. So you can also use the flush method to push stuff out. Flush will push it out. So anyway, it's these two sort of commands together. You have to see, is OS imported all the time? I don't think you need to import OS unless you're going to use that function. So anyway, you get credit for going through the reading and the writing, just to refresh your memory. And then after that, it should be old hat. So these are here for reference. And so here's interacting with file systems. And so, like you might want to get the path and all that. That's what this does. And binary data, this is like for images. If you want to manipulate or store or copy something other than text files. Did we cover this? So this is how you get at, when you're executing a file or when you're executing a Python program like this, you say Python, and then you say the name of the Python program, and then you can have arguments. And the way you get it, and so the way you get at them is it's this this particular list. And so it's sysarg v0 and sysarg v1, I guess. So we can test that. Let's write a program. Well, I'll tell you what, let's write a Linux program. Okay, let's immerse ourselves in our Linux platform here. So I'm going to go to my my cPanel. This is my server. I'm going to go to my cPanel. And R4 I make it just as hard on myself as I make it on you. Actually, I can change my password, but I'll never remember what it is, but I always remember what it was initially. Okay, so So I'm going to open up the file manager because I'm going to probably make a file. And I'm also going to open up the terminal program because I'm going to be doing terminal stuff because I'm going to show you about arguments here. So it's a terminal. So I'm going to go here, and for some reason, when you click on this one, it doesn't open up a new tab. So I'm going to right click and open it up in a new tab. And here's my terminal. Doesn't matter. So here that is. And so here's my file manager. I'm going to go in here. I don't need to go in here, do I? I can just stay at the root. Actually, I guess I'd like you to make it a habit of going into the public. It doesn't really matter. All right. Well, I'm going to be in the public HTML directory just because here I am. And I'm going to test system arguments. So I'm going to make a new file called testargs.py. And so here it is, testargs.py. And I can, in fact, see it. R4. See, here it is now, right here. Doesn't do anything because it's empty. So now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to edit it. And I'm going to pop in well, I don't even know what this is. I'm just testing arguments. So let me just copy like this. No, I'm just going to copy this. And I want to go over here and I'm just going to paste it. Say, I'm not sure if, okay, so I'm going to print, I'm just going to print, I'm going to say print sys.argv of 0 and of 1 and of 1 like that. Okay, and in fact, I'm not even gonna have any of that. I'm just gonna save this and I'm gonna run it. Here's my terminal. I'm gonna cd to public HTML dir, and there's my testargs.py. So I'm gonna go Python 3 testargs.py, and it says it's out of range because I have to put some parameters. Okay, so I'm going to do this again. Space PARAM1 space PARAM2 space PARAM3. And what does it say? It says testargs.py space PARAM1. Okay, so it took this as testargs 0, and it must have taken this as testargs 1 because that's what I print out. See, I print out 0 and 1. Okay, so anyway, that's what the testargs, or that's what you can do with arguments. So anyway, we'll take advantage of that. All right, here's the with statement can be used. So it just creates a block, and what it does is when you're done with everything that you're going to do with the file, then you just don't indent anymore. You go back to the the first column, and that automatically closes the file. And it's a nice way of organizing your code. All right. So CSV files, we're going to fool with these. And CSV files are comma separated values. That's what CSV stands for. And it's a real simple way of creating what will open up in Excel as a spreadsheet. And so you may want to manipulate, you can read a CSV file and manipulate it, print it back out again, and you have the startings of a database program, I guess. All right, so so let's go to this course grade program, and so first you're going to get it running here, and then you're going to get it running on your cPanel, okay? And I have something that I'm working on right here called scores, and so I've tested it out to make sure that what I tell you today will actually work. So that's what that's for. So let's start by writing this program, and I want to try to get you going here, but not tell you all the way to the end. Yeah, I can do that. All right. So what this program does is it reads a tabs. They call it a TSV file, tab separated values. Okay. So and so it's a file that looks like this. In this case, they have a file inside here called this studentinfo.tsv, and if you download it, it ends up being just this. You'll see it's just this. Okay, so I downloaded it, and well, it's just downloaded here. I'm going to download it, and it comes in a zip file, and if you open up the zip file, it's just got this tab separated thing. All right. And so what you're supposed to do is it's got a first name, a last name, a first name, two midterm scores, and the final score. And what you're supposed to do is compute the average exam score of each student and assign a letter grade. So you have a midterm, and a final. Okay, so it's three scores, and you're supposed to compute the average, and then you're supposed to output everything back out again, except for but it has grades here at the end. Okay, so you print this exact file back out again, except for there's one more column, and that's the grade. Okay, and the grade is computed by taking the average here and applying this formula, this here. All right, so how can I do this and get you going here and without telling you completely how to do it? Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. First of all, let's see, what are my notes? Let's see what the notes say. All right, I see what they're doing. Declare any necessary variables here. Read. This is what we're going to print. Oh, it's got this down at the bottom. Huh? Okay, well, the way we're going to do it, or the way they suggested, and it's a pretty decent way. There's various ways that we can do this. Is we're just going to have arrays or lists. We're going to have a list called first name, a list called last name, and a list called midterm score, and then after that we can just add a list for the grade, and then we can just go down the line. So first name of 0 is going to be this, last name of 0 is this, midterm score 1 of 0 is this, and then this is of 1, it's of 2, of 3, of 4. Okay, so that'll be the elements in the list. And so let's see, let me pull up some sort of editor here. No, let me just go directly and I'll put it in here. See, I'm going to make a new oh wait, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to make a, this is so messy, isn't it? I'm supposed to make a directory called this. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm in my public HTML directory. I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it lab 12.8. And you better name it exactly that, because I'm going to write, my program's going to go look for this folder, and if the folder's not there, then I'm going to think you haven't done it yet. All right, so let's go in there, and I'm going to create a file called main.py. Main.py. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to create a file called main.py. And I'm going to open this up in edit mode. And the first thing in this thing, you're supposed to enter the name of the output file. No. See, what are you supposed to? Oh, you're supposed to name the input file. So you're supposed to type this in. And what I want you to do is just use this name for the input file, but I want you to ask the user for the output file. Okay, so it's just the opposite of what you do here. Here when the program runs, it asks for the file that's got the scores, and then it just generates a file called report.txt. That's what you're supposed to do here. For the assignment, you're supposed to instead ask the user for the name of the output file. And of course, what my program is going to do is, or what my test is going to do is I'm going to put in some random name, and then I'm going to run your program, and then I'm going to look to see if that file is there and that it has the right answers. All right, so so the first thing I'm going to do is, let's see, I have an input file and an output file. So I'm going to say input file is just going to equal this student info dot tsv as the tab separator file. Okay, and while I'm at it, I'm going to create the TS file student info dot tsv, and I'm going to grab that data, which this is it right here. Copy, edit, and so there's the data. And let's see. So I got to make sure I don't want to give you all the answers. But this is just setting you up. And now the main thing that you're going to do is you're going to write code in here. Well, so I have an input file, and then I want to ask the user for an output file. So I'm going to say output file equals input, because I'm asking the user, and I want to say enter an name of an output file. Okay. And then I'm going to have these arrays. I'm going to have a first name array, a list, a first name list. I think I declare the list like that. And I'm going to have a, you're going to have a last name list also. And then you're going to have a midterm score list. I'm going to say midterm 1 score. I have one of these. And except for you're going to have a 2 and a 3. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that there. Nice. This doesn't put down. Okay, so and then I'm going to start reading in from studentinfo.tsv. So I'm going to use this with thing. And I guess there's a lines. Read lines. I've got a it's in my notes. There's a method called read lines, reading files. Do we have a read lines? This reads the whole thing. Read lines. Read. Okay, so file read lines method. This method returns a list of strings where the first element is the contents of the first line, the second element is the contents of the second line, and so on. Okay, so that's a nice one because we're going to read, one line at a time. We're going to read this line, and then these are separated by tabs. You see, this is one tab, and this is another tab, and another tab, and so then we can split. This line on the tab, and this will end up being the first element, and this will end up being this. Oh, there's a tab here too. There's a tab here. So there's a tab. Tab is what separates the columns. All right. So so over here, I'm going to say I'm going to use that read lines thing. So first, with, I'm going to use with open input file. As I don't know, in file, whatever. The lines and so what are the lines? Students equals in file dot read lines. Okay, so so I read this in, and I have to call it something. So I'm going to call it this, and then that's an object, and it's got some methods that come along with it, and one of them is this method. So I can say execute this method of this object, and it's going to produce a list. It's going to produce a list of lines, and each line is one student. So after I've done that, I'm going to go one student at a time for student in students. For each one, I want to split that each line into up into fields, and so I do that by doing fields dot student fields equals student dot split, and I got a split on a tab. I think that's this. I'm gonna see if that's it. I think that's it. All right. So now I have all of the 0, 1, 2, 3, and I gotta figure out based on an average. So, oh, I gotta put these into the array, don't I? So I gotta go first name dot append, and I'm gonna say what I'm gonna append, and it's gonna be fields, the 0th element of fields. Okay. You know, a field looks like this. Let me just grab one here. You know, looks like this. I can go like this. It's a hashtag. That's a comment. So this is the 0th one. This is the first one. So is Barrett the first name or the last name? I don't know. Barrett must be the first name. So this is the 0th one. So I'm gonna make the first name be Barrett, and then also there's some scores here. So I'm gonna say like midterm 1 score dot append, and that would be like this one, maybe. This is 0, this is 1, this is 2. So it's like fields 2, let's say. And I gotta read them all in, and I gotta take an average. Let's see, scores is gonna be, okay, well, there's a okay, so this is not the number 70. This is a string of 2 characters. The first one is a 7 character, and the second one is a 0 character. And so we want to treat this as an integer. So we have to enclose field 2 in int. And then, so you're going to read all those in. So just go ahead and read all those in. And then you're going to want to, for each of them, well, shoot, you can compute the, I see what they did. You can compute the final grade too. So I'm going to do grades is equal to something. And you can compute the average and compute everything, and have the if, you know, let's say you have an average and that's equal to something, and right now I'm just going to say it's equal to the midterm. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways that we can do this. I'm gonna say, what time is it? It's 12:12. Geez, it's getting late. All right. So you're gonna compute the average somehow. And I'm just gonna put this here because that's gonna be some number. And then you're going to want to compute what the score is, or what the grade is. So it's going to be something like if AVG is greater than or equal to 90, then the grade is an A grade. Then you can append. It's a parentheses. An A. L if the average is greater than or equal to 80, in which case you append B, dot dot dot. At the very end, it's else grades append F, N. So that's everything, but you got to fill in more because there's more grades in A and B and F. And then, so when you're done with that loop, you actually have the full, because you know, you read in a name, you compute the grade, and you just, you know, so when you're all done reading this in, this one's full, the one for last name is full, the other two scores are full. You might as well make an average. I mean, you can. I mean, you don't have to. You just compute it. You can compute an average. Somehow it's going to be like this plus this, whatever, divided by, and then you actually going to compute the figure out what the letter grade is, and you can just append it on there. And then what, you're supposed to print all this out. Shoots, dude, you can just print it out in the same loop, can't you? Print, you know, you got to make an output line if you're going to print tabs, I guess. Out equals yeah, you know, the way I'm doing it here, you don't even need to create an array, but you do need to compute the final average at the end. So to do that, you are going to need to, you want to average, what is the average you want at the end? It's the average midterm, or the average scores for there. So so the way I've done it here is I'm doing this all in one line, and I think that's kind of, so when you do it all in one line, you don't even have to create these arrays here. And so I'm actually, it's 12:15. I think I'm going to do it that way. So I still split the fields, but here, let's say I say first name is equal to, I just say first name is equal to this. And I say the midterm 1 score is equal to this. And I'm going to have to, do it for the, you know, the last name and so on. And then I'm going to figure out an average, and I'm going to figure out a letter grade. And so I'm just going to do grade equals this, grade equals that. You know, otherwise grade equals this. Grade equals F. And then I'm going to create an output line, and I guess what I'm going to do, out it is first name plus a tab plus last name plus midterm 1 score is going to be midterm 1 score, but it's going to have to be a string, so you got to put it, because str plus a tab plus the grade plus a new line. No, we don't need a new line because that's going to be taken care of by the print. So that's all. And then we print the outline. I'm going to call it outline. Oh, this is going to, this is going to display it out, and you're going to want to print it to an output file. Okay, here we're not printing it to an output file. So let's just see what this looks like. It's called. All right, so go to my terminal, and let me do a dir. It is this. It's oh, I have to go into the directory cd lab 12.8. Go in there. Then it's okay. So here we are. So I'm going to do Python 3 space main.py. Enter, and I don't really need to enter anything. Okay, what happened? It doesn't like grade. What is, oh, grade is not defined, okay. Oh, grade. Maybe we should start out by saying grade equals F. And then here it sets it to A, here it sets it to B, and then, you know, whatever. So then I don't even need this. So now what happens when I run it? Okay, so the reason it assigned, okay, so here we're printing it out, displaying it out. Let's just display it out output file. How do we do that? We go open. Oh, I see. Well, I guess we can do it this way with open output file, comma, plus W. I wonder why it's plus W. I guess it is plus W. As output file. It's out file. And where do I need to file equals out file? Huh? So I guess when I print this, I go something like this. File equals out file. Tab this in. Yeah. All right, I want to see what this does. So I'm going to run it. And asks me the name of the file. And I'm going to say output file test.txt. That's what I'm going to call it. And it does its thing. And I go back to File Manager and I hit refresh, somehow reload. And oh, look, there it is. And let's open it up. And lo and behold, it's a tab, must be a tab. Okay, so I tell you what, I'm going to do this. Instead of a tab, I'm going to make it a comma. Make it a comma and a comma. And I'm going to first print out print name score grade, comma, file equals out file. And then it prints this. And so now let's see what I'm going to do here. Let's see, for the name of the out file, I'm going to have the name of the out file be .csv. So, and I'm just going to add that on there. No, that's not how to do it. This plus .csv. Okay. So I'm going to take whatever I type in as the name of the output file, and I'm going to append onto the end of it .csv, and I'm going to write that out, and I'm going to make it comma separated instead of tab separated. Okay, so I'm deviating from the assignment. I'm just showing you this. So now when I run this, let's run it again, and for the name of the file, I'm going to say out test. Okay, and I'm going to just call it that, and it's going to boom, do its thing. And then I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to refresh this. I wonder if this is going to work. It might not work. So I'm going to go into my lab. Oh, here it is, lab 12.8, and these are. And what happens when this is the one I just created. Oh, I wanted it to open up like a. And this opens up. So I guess it did kind of open up like a. It opened up like a spreadsheet. All right. Well, anyway, it's basically this, except for you need to also read in a last name, and you need to read in another score and another 3 scores, and then you got to figure out the average of those 3 scores is, and then you got to do 90, 80, 70, 60, all the way down to C, include C and D, and then when you're done, you just you got to add, you change this back to tab. And you want it to be first name and then last name, and then midterm 1, midterm 2, the final score, and then the grade. And that should work. And for submitting it here, it asks you what the input file name is, and the output file is hard coded as report.txt. So there you make the input file be, you ask the user what the name of it is. In the output file, you just name it report.txt. You don't do any of this thing. All right, so I think I've given you enough to do both the lab and the assignment. Are there any questions? Do you have any questions? All right, I think I'll end it here, and I will see you next week. Thanks.